Okay. Welcome. Welcome to the stage here in Talent Stage. I'd like to talk today about the reality of job seekers and what companies have to learn, why and what they should do in order to find talents. Maybe two words from my side. I'm Steffen. I'm the CEO of Kununu. I'm a manager by education and an entrepreneur by heart. I build internet companies. And kununu is basically an Austrian kind of successful internet startup which merged with Xing 2013 or was taken over with Xing in 2013 and is Europe's market leader for employer insights and employer reviews. And we are in Austria, Switzerland, Germany and the US. And we have more than 1.6 million data points of employees, how they like and what they like about their employers. And today I want to show you what we found out of our data and what is the reality behind the data and how employers, the old ones and the new ones, react and what they need to change in order to get talent and to keep talent. The insights we gained is since 10 years, and these insights changed over time, and we continuously asking employees what is the purpose, why are they working for companies, and the number one answer is on the one hand surprising and not surprising. 10 years ago it was mainly about career and money, and nowadays it's about people, which is maybe not surprising, but the working together with colleagues is the most important, most inspiring part to work in a company. It's less about the brand, it's less about money. Based on these 1 million, 1.5 million people telling us this, it's the people. The factor is not it's nothing new, because it's we deducted on several factors why people are choosing jobs or why don't they choose it. And it's again the people. So people are choosing people. They're trying to find ways to look behind the scenes and with what are the people working in a company. It's for kununu, why we started this as well is the 10 years ago the employers, the companies had this nice looking brochures. They said we are all the best, we are doing the best, we are paying the best, and we are treating our people the best. The reality was totally different. For myself, I only had 10, 15 years ago one single job where I had a company employing me, and the reality from I saw a job ad to starting the first day was totally different. So this kind of first day experience changed over the last 10 years. The change was I had totally different people, and in case I would have known who is my boss 15 years ago, I wouldn't started there, because he was not really the way I would like to work in a creative atmosphere and someone who's interested in my development. We've looked much more deeper in the data, and we understood what are the main drivers why people work and what they want to understand and what they like in companies. And as I mentioned, the team, the people inside the company is the main important point. The numbers on the right side are based on a 5-star ratio, and the 5-star ratio says basically 1 star is very poor and 5 stars is excellent, like the hotel rating. And people rate, and for them it's important to have on the one hand freedom to work, free reign, work together, and the topic of equality. Equality in a different sense, or not in different, but in multiple sense. It's the equality between your boss and the team. It's the equality of gender or other minorities. And then it comes culture. What is very, very interesting, it's that the compensation aspect is relevant, still relevant, but it's number 10. So this changed over the last years. These you heard it probably a couple times already, and the companies being here are more progressive than a normal company, or the average. It changed over the last years. Like compensation, awards had been very, very important, but it's going down. And this kind of compensation is still relevant. It changes over time, especially young people without any family and responsibilities. For them it's less important, but as soon as you have family and kids and you have to take care of them, of course compensation, salaries are important, because like you don't want to like have the problem to think about like whether you can pay your next bill or not. But this is something changing over the generations. And leadership and culture is as well important, and it's growing and it's changing. And what we've seen is that the company culture is a massive trend, that people are more and more rating and taking care and looking into the topic of company culture, because the companies at the job market, they are fighting for talents, and these talents can select. And what is the differentiator? Of course, it's the employees, the colleagues, but as well it's the culture. The culture means, for instance, how is the company dealing with making mistakes, failure, promotion, appraisal, freedom to work. But so this is something which is hard to see in advance, like how a company is dealing with the culture, how the DNA of a company is growing. But this is something as well what employers can do to position their company. For instance, taking Vitra, as the colleague before, the speaker before said, it's hard to find people working at Vitra because like no one wants to work in a furniture company. The positioning could be overcoming or positioning the company culture as one part and the work content as well. On the other hand, why is it necessary that employers have to think different compared to years before? It's basically there are three main points. One you've already heard is the digitalization. Second is the demography. Demography is somehow nowadays accepted that people are becoming older and older, have the chance to work longer, but on the other hand, being the average aging society in the modern world means like there's only one European country which is not aging, and that's France. Everyone else is aging. And aging means we have few kids, so I encourage everyone to make more kids. And second, of course, you have the right, or everyone has the right to become older. But becoming older has additional challenges. If you have like a changing world, you need different skills. And 60% of the jobs in 10 years, according to a World Economic Forum study, is not existing yet. That means aspects, challenges, and skills are changing and are required for companies to start thinking where are the talents and what kind of talents they need. And of course, having a somehow stable situation in economic or national economic, you have like a shortage of skilled labor. And shortage of skilled labor is nothing which appears like from one day to another. Or to solve the lack of skilled labor, you only have two choices. One, you find more talent. Second, you keep your talent. And for both things, employers have to just be well equipped and have to understand how to communicate and to position themselves to keep talent and to find talent. Why it's important that employers and companies talk who they are and why they are existing and how they are working and how the atmosphere and culture is. There's a study from the Personalmagazin, that's from us, from last year, and it was detected that 1/3 of every applicant already has decided for or against a company because they've read about this company that they're a good employer or a bad employer. And that's relevant because like in case like companies are wondering why they don't get applications, it's not a surprise. Like companies approaching me and asking me like, kununu is like the worst and the evil of the job market, and they would like to, I don't know, if they have one single wish, they would wish that we are not existing. because like people are not applying to them because their own employees telling on the website how they like the company or not like the company. And they only get C talents or like D players and not A players. And at the same time, they're wondering that they lose A players in the company. So that's extremely irrelevant. The transparency of the companies are not stoppable. You see it once you're on Amazon and you buy and you want to inform about your product. You want to have like not this first initial effect why a product is not working or why it's amazing, because you want to do it before you buy. And the same way is for the job markets. Like it's totally crucial and important that companies understand that the transparency is not an irreversible process. It will be there and it will be continuously there. It's not like just a campaign. And this is something which is growing slowly. The work changed, as I mentioned. 60% of the jobs not existing yet. There's a more and more automation. And as you can see here on the left-hand side, there's just a candle and a change to a light bulb, which is changing colors according to the light, the atmosphere of the room, and the person. And the same way is there a modernization in the job area. Imagine like, I don't know, travel agencies. 20 years ago, people went to travel agencies like real offices and stores. Nowadays, majorities are booking online their hotels. Of course, you still have your travel experience in a hotel, but the rest changed. Or reading newspapers or classifieds. In Austria, it's will haben. Before, it never exists, but everyone is using it nowadays. So the work and the digitalization changed. What we've learned as well is what are the most important factors for employees and job seekers. And it's surprising. On the one hand, like every second job seeker is interested to have like flexible working hours. So they want to decide what is important to them. They don't always want to stick to their working hours. They want to have like flexibility to come maybe a little bit later or leaving a little bit earlier because they have a flexible life. And companies offer this. Home offices as well, something interesting, which is for most of the companies totally normal, but it's the second most important thing employees or job seekers are looking for. And that means not expressing this as a standard is a factor why companies maybe lose applicants. The third one is totally surprising because most of the employer says, nope, I don't want to offer dogs. So the reality is every fourth job seekers is looking, what we know, for the possibility to take at least the dog in theory, but employers only offer this for 12%. So there's a gap. And what I have to underline, not every situation or not every employer can host dogs. Taking, for instance, hospitals or like semiconductors where you have like a clean room. Can I take them? Of course, but in other situations you can do. And the flexibility in the offering might help applicants to understand, yes, my employer is taking care of me and they are interested. Another important point is only 15 to 20%, so every fifth maybe, is looking actively for a job. And most of the companies and employers think, yes, I know there's a certain amount of people looking for jobs, but these are only like this 15 to 20%. A huge mass is a passive crowd out there. They are willing to change, but they are not actively looking for jobs. And addressing them on a more indirect way, because they are not going to jobs platforms like Xing or Karriere.at or Indeed. They are just informing about an employer, get an impression how it is to work for them. And if they are interested, they're going to apply to the job or the company. It's the way how, I don't know, here Trivago explained how they work and how totally different they work compared to someone else. And this kind of employer branding is absolutely important, and in case you can combine it, then in theory, up to 70% of all employees are willing to change actively and passively. Another point is, like, everyone is concentrating as well here in the booth in a very customer-focused approach, and we have to think of our customer, have to think how a customer is perceiving the brand. The same way this is outside, it should happen inside. Inside means HR has or started for a lot of HR departments to think, I have a colleague, a talent, how can I interact and what is necessary to understand and how to approach them. The other point is the brand. There of course are B2C brands, big brands like a Mercedes or like a Facebook. They grow as well from the inside for the HR purpose because they're excellent employees and colleagues inside. But having the employees as well in the company, these are the ambassadors for the companies. They are talking to friends, to colleagues, to neighbors about their job if they like it, but as well if they don't like it. And sometimes if they're confused about strategy, about their culture, about their positioning, in case there's something not going ideal in, like, I don't know, taking Audi or Volkswagen with the Dieselgate, is the same. Brands are growing from the inside, or they are dying from the inside. Having Audi and Volkswagen as an example, we did a study together with a German newspaper, and there's a correlation about the diesel, let's call it Dieselgate, and the employer branding perception. So employees on kununu from like Audi and Volkswagen and so on, they rated massively worse how the employer treated them or how they perceived them, the brand, compared to the times before when it was not open and when the brand was much more stronger. So these brands can die and they can grow from the inside. They grow slowly, but they can die very, very fast. That means I cannot build a brand for employers or for an employer branding from one day to another. It takes weeks, months, years until a certain perception is in the market, because employees need to understand what is happening. They need to express, the HR needs to express, the C-level as well. But I can cut this little bonsai within seconds. So I can destroy the process within seconds, days, or months, because I don't treat a company culture from the inside. This happened a couple times already, but the positive way, you can turn around, but it takes again time to grow this bonsai after it's cut. As a summary here, so in case a company cannot fulfill a position, it costs approximately 20 to 30,000 per position when it's not fulfilled within like 6-7 months. As I mentioned, the employer brand is pretty slow to grow, and the employer branding is relevant. And the strong brands are growing from the inside, meaning I have employees who can transport their third-party views in it. Which is important maybe to the second and third point. There's a study mentioning that 4 out of 10 applicants refused to sign a contract if they realized that what was proposed in the job ad about benefits, perks, culture was not happening in the interviews or once they wanted to sign a contract. 4 out of 10. So what companies promise and what is happening in reality needs always to have like a double check. And of course, people like managers, hiring managers and HR try to convince the applicants to show, hey, we're the best, don't sign with the competitor or someone else, sign with us. And they maybe tell them not the truth, but then people either sign or quickly cancel the contract within the first days. And this is, of course, like the same way it has an economic effect, because maybe the other people you wanted to hire, but you said like, I'm going to take the other talent, or you found somewhere else a job. And for us, like we were approached from a lot of companies, hey, yeah, I have a bad review on your platform. How can I either pay you to get this review offline, or if I cannot pay you, I'm going to sue you. It's not possible, like to pay kununu to get any reviews offline, because like we have our own algorithm, and what's online stays online, except there's a certain way like to prove that it's not real, but it's fake, what is written. And companies have to accept that there are positive and negative opinions in the company. And interacting with this is the most important and relevant part, because you probably don't buy any products on Amazon or somewhere else, or going to a hotel which has only 5 stars. That every single customer is super, super happy, because then I personally wouldn't say that's trustworthy. I would always be suspicious and probably take the next one. The way it is here, I personally want to have authentic insights in the company and understand how to work in a company. And when I looked at kununu before I started, it was totally strange, because the mood and the happiness was up and went massively down before I joined, and then went slowly up, and then I joined. And I was like thinking, should I join this company? Because like the happiness was, I would say, maybe of 50% of the people. But because like there were a lot of change in the company and people were not taken on the path for the change, and this was expressed there. And I understood why the happiness was not there, and I decided to take the challenge. Nowadays, I think we have a recommendation again of 100%, which is good. So people are liking the company, but it was reality, and this was for me important to start and to see. And employers have just to understand that it's reality. They cannot change it. They have to accept and deal with it, and try to understand why people are talking positive and bad, like negatively about their mood, and why they want to interact and change a certain company. That's it for kununu and how employers should think. I hope you're happy with your employer. Otherwise, you hopefully find the right one, because I would say the second most important choice in your life. There's one more important, and if you're in doubt where to find it, you can check, or you talk to your friends and colleagues and try to get an good insight in the company and avoid the first day effect. Thank you very much.